Are you in favor of limited government? If you said yes to one or both of those questions, you could be qualified as a terrorist because that's the label being given to several groups of super conservative Americans in a study funded by you, the taxpayer, and overseen by Homeland Security Secretary Janet Napolitano. Here to weigh in is Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer, a senior fellow with the Center for Advanced Defense Studies. Lieutenant Colonel, they talk about the year 2000s. And they seem to have omitted a lot of extremist Islamic terror attacks against U.S. citizens.
Well, that's the key here, Brian. This is wishful thinking from Janet Napolitano and DHS. Frankly, if you have a copy of 1 Second After, the Bill Forstchen book that Newt Gingrich tweeted about over the weekend, you could be considered a terrorist by the training manuals that are now out. There are real threats out there. Let's look at Faisal Shahzad, who almost took out Times Square, and Major Hassan, who killed over a dozen folks at Fort Hood. Frankly, there's a global jihad going on by radical extremists. We have seen the effects here. And there was a Sufi shrine blown up in Timbuktu, for goodness sake, over the past few days. What we're doing here is allowing these real threats to exist, to foster themselves in such a way that they will kill more Americans, and at the same time you have this huge distraction of people being targeted on the right for no real reason.
Here's a tear out about what the Homeland Security Division has handed out. Quote, groups that believe that one's personal and or national way of life, quote, is under attack and is either already lost or that the threat is imminent. What does that mean? We should look out for people who are extremely patriotic?
Technically, I guess you or I were out watching fireworks last night, enjoying our freedom. Could have been picked up for that very fact. This is insane. This is Orwellian doublespeak. The bottom line is this: all of this stuff they talk about regarding these right-wing groups has never come to fruition. There's no real threat there. They attempted recently to prosecute an extremist group in Michigan, and it fell apart because they were entrapped. I spoke to constitutional attorney Bruce Fine recently about this issue. The government is trying to create, in many instances, its own self-fulfilling prophecy and not successful. Let's remember a couple years ago, in 2009, Janet Napolitano actually said that she felt returning veterans from war were a threat. That's how desperate they were then, and I think continue to be now, to find this alternative threat to the one that we're really talking about here. There is a real threat, radical Islam. That's me. I'm one of them. So there you go.
So yeah, but it's very consistent from what we've seen from that division. I think we should be looking for the Norwegian guy who got radicalized in Yemen and we can't find. That should be the top story.
Exactly.
I don't see that anywhere.
This is the issue. Yes, they're going about, and there's a great story. Almor Al-Awlaki was going about trying to recruit people on the internet and was being successful. We have never run that to ground. The other thing, Brian, is the Holy Land Foundation trials left CARE, an organization which represents Muslim interests here, as an unindicted co-conspirator. Gee, last time I checked, if you're an unindicted co-conspirator, there may be some smoke there. You may want to see where that fire comes from to create the smoke.
Yeah, and just for the record, I'm not concerned about you, Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer, or
Thank you,
retired
Brian.
veteran. Thanks so much for joining us today. Always good, Tony.
Take care.
Straight ahead, a grand fireworks display that only lasted 15 seconds.